The first snow of December drifted quietly over the streets of New York. From the 23rd floor of her apartment building, Emma Carter watched the city glow beneath her. Yellow taxi lights crawled through traffic like restless fireflies. But Emma's world had stopped. 3 hours earlier, she had discovered something that shattered 5 years of trust in a single moment. She hadn't meant to look at Daniel's phone, but the screen lit up with a message. "I miss last night already." In that moment, Emma felt the ground beneath her life begin to collapse. The future she had imagined suddenly felt fragile. Yet sometimes, the ruins of betrayal become the foundation of personal power. Personal power after his ultimate act of betrayal. The first snow of December drifted quietly over the streets of New York. From the 23rd floor of her apartment building, Emma Carter watched the city glow beneath her. Yellow taxi lights crawled through traffic like restless fireflies. Somewhere far below, someone laughed. A siren wailed in the distance, then faded. The city never stopped, but Emma's world had. 3 hours earlier, she had learned something that shattered 5 years of trust in a single moment. She hadn't meant to look. Daniel's phone had lit up on the kitchen counter while he was in the shower. Normally, she ignored it. She believed in boundaries. She believed in trust. But the screen had shown a message preview. "I miss last night already." Her first instinct had been confusion. Her second had been dread. The sender's name was Lena. Emma stood frozen for a moment, staring at the glowing screen. She felt like someone standing on the edge of a cliff who suddenly realized the ground beneath her feet had already begun to crumble. She picked up the phone. Her hands were shaking. There were more messages, weeks of them. Photos, plans, hotel reservations, conversations that clearly belonged to two people who were not simply friends. Emma placed the phone back exactly where it had been. When Daniel walked out of the bathroom a few minutes later, hair damp and smiling, she already knew everything. And that was the strange part. She expected screaming, crying, rage. Instead, she felt hollow. "Daniel," she said quietly. He looked up from the refrigerator. "Yeah? Who is Lena?" The air changed. His smile faded, just a little, but enough. "Why?" he asked. Emma slid the phone across the counter. "I saw the messages." For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Outside, snow continued falling over the city. Daniel ran a hand through his hair. "It's not what it looks like," he said automatically. Emma almost laughed. That sentence, the most predictable sentence in the history of betrayal. "Then explain what it looks like," she said calmly. He opened his mouth, closed it again. Then came the excuses. "It started a few months ago. I didn't mean for it to happen. I was going to tell you." Each sentence felt like a dull stone dropping into water. Emma listened. She didn't interrupt. But something inside her had already shifted. For years, Daniel had been the center of her life. They had built routines together. Sunday brunch, Friday movies, summer trips. Their future had felt inevitable. Marriage, a house somewhere quieter than Manhattan, children maybe. Now she realized something terrifying. She had built her life like a house around a single pillar, and that pillar had just collapsed. "Daniel," Daniel said, stepping toward her. "Please say something." She looked at him, really looked. For the first time, she noticed how ordinary he seemed, how fragile the illusion had been. "I think," she said slowly, "I need you to leave." His face tightened. "You're serious?" "Yes." "Emma, don't do something dramatic. We can fix this." She shook her head. "No," she said quietly. "You broke it." He tried again. Apologies, promises, negotiations. But Emma had already made the decision. An hour later, the apartment was silent. Daniel's suitcase was gone. The snow outside had grown heavier. Emma sat alone at the kitchen table. That was when the pain finally came. It arrived like a storm breaking through a dam. She cried harder than she ever had in her life. For the relationship, for the future she had imagined, for the version of herself who believed love guaranteed safety. The weeks that followed were messy. Pain rarely follows a clean schedule. Some mornings Emma woke up feeling strong, determined to rebuild her life. Other mornings she couldn't get out of bed. Friends offered support. Her sister called every day. But betrayal has a strange way of isolating people. Even surrounded by kindness, Emma often felt alone with her thoughts. The hardest part wasn't anger, it was the questions. Was any of it real? Did he ever truly love me? How did I not see it? Her mind replayed memories like a detective searching for missed clues. Every late night at work, every unexplained trip, every moment she had chosen trust over suspicion. The answers never satisfied her. Eventually, she realized something important. Those questions had no end, and chasing them only kept her trapped inside the past. One cold Saturday morning, Emma made a decision. She left her apartment, walked to a small electronics store, and bought a camera. Not an expensive one, just something simple. The idea had come from an old memory. Years ago, in college, Emma loved photography. She used to wander the city taking pictures of strangers, buildings, shadows, reflections in puddles. But after starting her corporate marketing job, the hobby had slowly disappeared. Life became schedules, deadlines, presentations, responsible things, predictable things. Now she needed something different. She needed space. So she started walking through crowded avenues, across bridges, into quiet parks dusted with snow. At first, her photos were clumsy, blurry streetlights, crooked angles, but she kept going. Every weekend, every free evening, she photographed everything. A violin player in the subway, a couple arguing outside a diner, a lonely bench covered with snow. Something strange began happening. The more she focused on the world through the lens, the less she thought about Daniel. Pain slowly transformed into observation, and observation turned into curiosity. 3 months later, Emma had thousands of photos. One evening, she uploaded a few to a photography website. She didn't expect anything, but the next morning, dozens of strangers had commented on them. One message stood out. "Your photos feel honest, like the city is breathing." Emma stared at the screen. No one had ever described her work that way before. Encouraged, she kept posting. Her confidence grew. So did her audience. By summer, a small art cafe in Brooklyn contacted her. They wanted to display her photos. Emma read the email 3 times to make sure it was real. The exhibition was tiny, just 20 photos on a brick wall. But on opening night, people came. They studied her images carefully. Some smiled. Some asked questions. One older woman stood quietly in front of a photograph for nearly 5 minutes. It was a simple image, a single street lamp lowing through heavy snow. Finally, the woman turned to Emma. "Did you take this after something painful happened?" Emma blinked. "How did you know?" The woman smiled gently. "Because the photo feels like someone learning how to breathe again." Emma felt a lump in her throat. For the first time since the betrayal, she realized something important. Daniel had taken many things from her: trust, security, the illusion of permanence. But he had accidentally given her something else: freedom. Without the collapse of that relationship, she might have stayed in the same predictable life forever. The betrayal had destroyed one version of her life, but it had also cleared the ground for a new one. A year after the breakup, Emma stood once again at her apartment window. Snow was falling again. Just like the night everything changed. But this time she felt different, stronger, quieter inside. Her phone buzzed with a new email. Another gallery invitation. Another opportunity. Emma smiled softly. She no longer needed answers from Daniel. She no longer needed apologies. Some ruins were not meant to be repaired. They were meant to become foundations for something entirely new. And standing there above the glowing city, Emma finally understood something powerful. The worst betrayal of her life had not destroyed her. It had introduced her to the strongest version of herself.